Good afternoon, gentle viewers and lower alkalites. It is Rob from Rob's Game Group, and I am here to bestow upon you, crap that I talk about. So this video kind of stemmed out of a conversation that I was having with my wife last night, and we were talking about our favorite monsters, regardless really of the edition of D&D or fantasy role-playing in general. And it got me to thinking about what my top 5 favorite monsters are. And it is D&D, kind of. I play Basic Fantasy, which is my favorite version. It is a retro clone of old school D&D. And I've done many videos on it already and how much I love this game. And wow, this hat's aggravating. And how much I enjoy playing it and running it. So I'll mostly I will probably, when I say D&D or fantasy or whatever, I'm really referring to it because that's what I use more than anything else. I don't play 5th Ed or 4th or 3rd or any of that anymore. I've tried them all. And just I enjoy the old school. But rules aside, for the most part, what are my favorite monsters? And for me, it's mostly from a GMing aspect because I run most of the games here. I suppose it could also be a question that you could have as a player. What are your 5 top favorite monsters to fight? And her list is very different than mine, but she won't come on camera and do it. So I decided that I would do mine, and then let you guys put in the comments what your top 5 favorite monsters are, either as a player that you fight or as a game master that you throw at your players. So I have 5 of them, and they are not in a descending or ascending order. It's just these are the 5. One doesn't outrank the other, so it's not, oh, number 1 got this. No, it's just that happened to be where it fell on my list. But of all the monsters that I use, these are the ones that I like the best. It also doesn't mean that these are the monsters that I use the most. For instance, in the campaign that I just wrapped up this past week, I used mostly orcs and hobgoblins. And while through most editions, mechanically, they are almost carbon copies of each other, in my world, the orcs are a little bigger, a little brutish. They get an extra attack, they get an extra hit die, things like that, but they're worth more XP. However, they're dumb as dirt, and generally the hobgoblins are the smarter ones, and there's less of them. But they didn't make my list, even though I use them more than I do most other creatures. So we'll just go down the list, and the first entry on my list is ghouls. I love using ghouls. They are nasty, they are fun to paint, they look great on the tabletop, and my players have come to very much fear ghouls, especially in Basic Fantasy because it's old school. That paralyzing attack they have with their claws is horrendous unless you're playing an elf. So there have been many times where big tough characters have gotten shut down because they got paralyzed by a ghoul attack. And for such a low ranking menial creature, I find ghouls to just be fantastic, and it's just that extra paralyzing thing that they can do, because outside of that they're not enormously powerful, but I think they're creepy as hell. They're creepier than zombies to me, they're creepier than skeletons, and they're beefier than both, and in my opinion my favorite foot soldier of the undead to use in games. Now here's one that my number 2 entry This one I used 3 of them a couple weeks ago in a game, and that is the Rust Monster. I love the Rust Monster. I even had one of those plastic toys that the Rust Monster was based on back when I was a kid. No idea what happened to it. I can't find it anymore. Rust Monsters to me are fascinating because they don't really hurt the players in a physical sense. They don't really care about your meat and bones at all. They're just there to eat metal. And once they consume all the metal, they'll just leave. So they are a great way to strip your party down, knock them down a peg or two if they're, armored up to the hilt and getting a little bit uppity. It's fun to throw some Rust Monsters in there. Now, that being said, because all they have to do is hit with an attack or be hit by a metal weapon attack, they instantly ruin the weapon, or they instantly dissolve and ruin your armor by hitting you. That is nasty. And in most cases, you want to be careful how many times in a campaign you throw Rust Monsters at the players. Otherwise, it just feels like you're punishing the players over and over and over again. So, hitting them with it once in a while, maybe once or twice during the campaign, just to spice an encounter up, kind of fun. And I like them. My next entry on my top 5 favorite monsters to use are dire wolves. I love dire wolves. I love to attack you at night while you're camping, because wolves like to hunt like that. That wolf combat scene in that movie, what's the name of it? Season of the Witch. Which that movie plays out like a D&D adventure anyway, but that wolf scene in the woods is just freaking amazing, and that's how I would consider my wolves to attack in packs like that. Especially dire wolves, they're nasty. They, most parties can handle them, but not without taking some pretty severe damage from them, especially if the wolves get the drop on them. So I love to hit them with dire wolves. My next favorite on the list is, and I did use these in my last campaign, trolls. I love using trolls. They're big, they're nasty, they smell bad, and they regenerate. And I've got a whole bunch of troll models, and I love trolls. My only complaint with them in old school D&D or in basic fantasy is that they only regen like 1 point per turn. I would probably up that a little bit, maybe a D4 per turn or something, because when the trolls hit the field, everybody tries to lay into them because they know they got to get them down, they got to burn them to get rid of them, and trolls are just nasty, and they put out a lot of damage. So there's something that scares the players whenever they see them. And I also do things like, this troll, which is like a Scandinavian design, I think, is different from this troll, which is my rock trolls. My rock trolls, because they literally have rocks embedded in their skin, have better AC than a normal troll. And they never run out of rocks to throw because they can just break one off and chunk it at the PCs. And I like to do that too. So trolls are a definite favorite of mine. I'm also, trolls have been the fantasy creature that I think I was most scared of from a child on. And what is it the Billy Goat Gruff story, or the one with the troll under the bridge? I don't remember. Some kind of little fairy tale, nursery rhyme type story or something. When I was a kid, there's a troll under the bridge, and that used to scare the crap out of me when I was a kid. And that kind of stuck with me throughout my entire life. So I've always found trolls to just be frightening. Alright, my last entry on my list of top 5 monsters that I love to use, and this is the one that my wife probably hates the most when I pull them out, is giant spiders. I love using giant spiders. They are deadly. They got that poison that'll just kill you if you fail to save. They've got great movement. They've got web attacks. They're just nasty. They're creepy looking. I love painting up spiders and putting them on the table. They're freaky. I love giant spiders. I love to hit my players with giant spiders. And sometimes I'll do things like describe the webbing in a room and stuff that they see in some old castle they're going through where there's no giant spiders. But, you know, they get scared because they've encountered enough giant spiders to know how deadly they can be. And that's it. That's my top 5. I did exclude dragons from this list just because I think dragons could probably use their own list as far as my favorite dragons. So I wanted to focus more on the workhorse guys that are being used in every game, or most games. And like I said, some of these you don't use in every session. You want to spread some of this out quite a bit. But that's pretty much it for me. If you've got a top 5 list of your favorite monsters from old school D&D, put them in the comments. I'd love to read that kind of stuff. If you've got questions for me on why I chose certain creatures that I chose, feel free to put them in the comments. It's not really a whole lot of content to this video, and it's pretty short. But it was just a video I wanted to make because me and her were talking about it last night and laughing about the ones that she chooses opposed to the ones that I choose. So yeah, if you're a player or a GM, feel free to put in the comments your top 5 favorite fantasy monsters. If you enjoy the videos, please feel free to subscribe. Thank you to all of our new subscribers. We've had about 20 in the last few days. Welcome aboard. I'm glad everybody's here. Hope you're enjoying the videos. If you do, please give it a big thumbs up because that helps us circulate the videos and more people can see them. If you would like to see some of the photos and stuff I post of projects that I'm working on, or have questions and want to contact me directly, you can visit us on Rob's Game Group on Facebook. The link will be in the description of the video. And that's all I've got for right now. So until next time, good gaming and good luck.